Have you ever noticed how a summer vacation as a child felt like forever, but now, a whole year disappears in the blink of an eye? Why does time seem to move faster as we grow older? Why do boring classes drag on endlessly while weekends fly by like seconds? The answer isn't magic, it's psychology. Today we're exploring the fascinating psychology of time, how children, teens and adults perceive time differently, why some days feel painfully long while others vanish, and how our own minds can trick us into wasting it. By the end of this episode, you'll see time not as something that passes, but as something you can shape. Let's start with this. Time doesn't move faster or slower. Our brains perceive it differently based on what we're doing, how we feel, and how many new experiences we have. When we're young, everything is new. First bike rides, first friends, first heartbreaks. Every moment is packed with novelty, and our brains record more memories. That's why time feels slower in childhood. It's full of firsts. As adults, though, our days become more predictable. We wake up, go to work, run errands, repeat. Fewer new memories are created, so our brains compress those days into one blurred memory. The result? It feels like time is speeding up. This idea was described by neuroscientist David Eagleman, author of The Brain, The Story of You. He explained that time perception is linked to how much information your brain processes. When life feels routine, your brain saves effort processing less, storing less, and making time feel shorter. Think about your school days. Remember how a single day at school felt like it lasted forever? That's because your brain was constantly learning new things. Faces, facts, emotions, surprises. But now, 1 week of adult life can pass without a single new memory. So, if you want life to feel fuller and slower again, fill it with newness. Try new hobbies, visit new places, learn something every week. Novelty stretches your perception of time. Now, let's talk about the time illusion. The reason days sometimes feel short, long, or completely lost. Psychologists call this the chronostasis effect. It's the strange phenomenon where, for example, you glance at a clock and the second hand seems to freeze for a moment. Your brain is literally filling in gaps in your perception, smoothing over time jumps so the world feels continuous. The truth is, your mind doesn't experience time equally, it edits it. That's why days filled with activity can feel long while they're happening, but short in memory. And quiet, empty days can feel short in the moment, but long and heavy in memory. So if time feels like it's slipping away, it's often because you're living on autopilot, letting your brain compress and skip through the hours. Let's look at another fascinating bias. The planning fallacy. Coined by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, it describes our natural tendency to underestimate how long things will take. You tell yourself, I'll finish that essay in 2 hours, or, the project will only take a week. But it always takes longer, doesn't it? That's because our brains love optimism. We imagine the best-case scenario and forget all the tiny delays, distractions, fatigue, unexpected problems. So the next time you plan something, remember, whatever time you think you'll need, add 50%. You'll be amazed how much calmer and realistic your schedule becomes. Now it's time for a fun little experiment, your time perception test. Here's what I want you to do. Close your eyes, count to 60 in your head, no phone, no timer, just your inner clock. When you open your eyes, check the time. Were you close to a real minute, or way off? If your count felt much shorter, your internal clock is running fast, you're living life in rush mode. If it felt much longer, your mind may be less engaged or overstimulated. Either way, this test shows something powerful. Our sense of time is personal, emotional, and deeply connected to how we live. Here's the takeaway. We can't control time itself, but we can control how we experience it. When you fill your life with learning, purpose, and awareness, your days expand. When you let distraction, monotony, or autopilot take over, they shrink. So make your days count by being present. Notice the small details, the smell of your morning coffee, the sound of rain, the laughter of a friend. Those are the moments that make life feel full. Because time isn't just something to manage, it's something to feel deeply. If this episode opened your eyes to how your brain perceives time, share it with a friend who's always saying, there's never enough time. And don't forget to subscribe to School Subjects Online, because in the next episode we'll dive into something incredibly practical. How to set meaningful goals and align them with your time. Until then, live wide, not fast.